Streaming and cloud gaming are the new frontiers in gaming, but in most cases not the most affordable. That's where the abxylute comes in. Once it is released for the market, it will go for around US $249.99. That's $100 off the Logitech Cloud's $349.99. But is cheaper better? In the current state, it's in no because it is a pre-production model. But it holds so much potential at becoming the future console that makes gaming even more accessible without burning your wallet. A disclaimer, again, this is a pre-production unit. It does have its issues that were highlighted by abxylute. So I'll be talking about how it feels to play with one so far. Also, Xbox Cloud Gaming is not available in our region just yet, so we'll be playing with GeForce Now, PS Play, and Steam Link. Out of the box, you get a case that's made for the abxylute in all its glory, and a USB-C cable. Specs-wise, we are working with 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of internal storage, and it's running an MT8365 chip. It's also using a quad-core chip. It's a 4x ARMM Cortex A5 III that's clocked at 2 GHz. It has USB-C port for charging and file transfers, a micro SD card slot so you can load up whatever you want inside, and a 3.5mm audio jack. The abxylute is light at 450 grams. It trims a lot of fat off the Steam Deck that's at 669 grams. It's nice and slim, and the abxylute will be adding grips to the back in the retail model. It has a 7-inch LTPS screen that's in 1920 by 1080 and 60Hz for its refresh rate, and I'll say the colors on the screen are great at its price point. To support the strenuous task of cloud gaming and streaming, it comes equipped with a 2T2R MU-MMO Wi-Fi chip. Let's do a speed test to show you how fast this can grow. Alright, here's our speed test. Let's go. Given that it's Singaporean Wi-Fi also, and you know, our internet speeds here are pretty damn fast. And we are at 153.09 megabytes per second. Now, before we get into it, this channel is supported by brands who help us improve our content and keep us going, so stay around for the sponsored message.
Meet the Cyborg 15 gaming laptop from MSI. Check out its translucent material design that not only looks good but feels good thanks to its ultra lightweight chassis at only 1.98 kilograms. Give yourself the upper edge in gaming with its blazing fast performance powered by the latest 12th gen Intel Core i7H series processor and Nvidia RTX 4000 series GPUs. And stay immersed with its Nahibic twin speaker sound system that provides an auditory feast like no other. For more details, check out msi.com.
Now the abxylute console, because it's lightweight, you'll be able to hold it quite effortlessly. However, when it comes to the ergonomics, it is too angular for me as it is now. The sides are much sharper than the Switch. It doesn't dig into your hands, of course not, but I noticed that there is a gnawing feeling after playing it for an extended period of time. Also, I wish they made this grip a bit much larger. To be fair, the Nintendo Switch barebones has no depression in the back that would act as grips. In the case abxylute does not address this issue in the retail version, I hope they, or at least a third party, would craft out silicone grips like the ones I have for my Switch. The material and paint on this isn't finalized from what I can tell, but as of now it is quite the smudge magnet, so bear that in mind. The layout of the buttons and joysticks are very similar to that of the Nintendo Switch and in turn the Logitech G Cloud. I like how the front triggers are much longer than the Switches and it lets my fingers rest comfortably on them, and this allows me to transition between triggers seamlessly. The joysticks are comfy to glide with just like the Switch, and their buttons and D-pad are slightly larger, giving you a better hold of the buttons. Now on to the display. The colors are pleasant to look at, not too deep, and the same goes with the blacks. Not only did they get the display completely right, but they also got the speakers right. And if you're new to the channel, I really love my audio stuff, and these speakers have done pretty well for a handheld console. The primary function of the abxylute is to stream games, and the good thing about streaming games onto a device like this is having a good connection. Your PC or PS5 has to be turned on in order for these things to work, and hopefully you have a LAN cable directly connected to them to ensure you have an amazing stream quality. We're in Singapore and we have the best internet in the world, or at least pretty close to the top, so I have no issues with streaming the games and playing them. The Wi-Fi on this is amazing, and so far I've had solid connections. There will be latency of course, but it's manageable-ish. Button and trigger inputs have been consistent so far. When they do get registered, we'll talk about that later on. But I will say their triggers are very consistent and accurate, so shooting and engaging the accelerator in racing games feels precise and natural. We have GeForce Now, which lets me stream Steam games in my library that are available and compatible. Again, your connection determines how smooth your game experience is, but in terms of playing on the Absolute, I did enjoy playing around with the console for the most part. In a perfect world, this would have a SIM card slot that would support 5G signals for a truly portable gaming experience, and also a chance to have a leg up on Logi G Cloud and the Steam Deck. Of course, the hotfix is to carry around a portable router, but who wants that? I don't make these devices, so I would not know the technicalities behind adding in SIM card support, but it would be a step forward for Absolute and cloud gaming consoles in general. What I didn't like, the buttons and calibration of the joysticks on these are quite the thing to navigate. I found myself having to do a double take on the X, Y, A, B buttons or pressing harder for an action to register every now and then. Especially for action games like Ghost of Tsushima during combat or Cyberpunk when I'm trying to just interact with the world around me. You'll notice this when you hit the buttons navigating the UI, so a fix would be great. Speaking of buttons, the buttons do light up. You get to change the color in the settings. The D-pad, however, does not, and it does not let me move or perform diagonal inputs smoothly. I would imagine this would be a big downside for emulator gamers out there when you want to execute certain moves in game. The calibration on the joysticks as an FPS player does not work for me, especially since they use magnetic hall sensors, which means they practically have no dead zone. What's dead zone? The dead zone is a small area around the game controller's thumbstick that doesn't respond to stick movement. So having literally no dead zone would mean that every nudge would register, meaning it would be quite sensitive, which would be great for some game genres, but not all of them. Quite the contrast between this and the buttons if you ask me. Testing out the joysticks, you'll notice that it has a circle style input. Shifting the sticks in a diagonal, it won't give you 100% of your signal/input, and that means you won't be moving in the right way. These sticks favor cardinal points, or basically the lines, so when I shift to a diagonal, it will follow the line and then move over to your desired angle, which is less than desirable. Again, this is a pre-production model and things will definitely change down the line. So what we're playing with now may be a whole different beast in time to come. Cloud-based gaming has seen some growth over the past decade. Remember OnLive, a cloud gaming service that started in 2010, has seen some support from AAA game developers like Ubisoft, 2K Games, and THQ, as well as Gaikai, which laid the foundation of PlayStation Now. However, throughout the years, we've never really seen a proper development of these platforms that pretty much fall short and end up being failed projects. Overall, my thoughts on the Absolute console in its pre-production state, it can do so much better in many areas. From the ergonomics of the console to the calibration of its joysticks and buttons, it does well in certain areas like the precision of its triggers. It has a great display and speakers, but putting up with its downsides makes wanting to get this at its proposed retail price point at US $250, I'd rather get something else. You can game with it. Yes, I do believe that Absolute is onto something here because honestly, it has the potential to be a decent streaming and cloud gaming console. But that depends if they're able to change things up with all the feedback they're getting. The question remains, would you get it in its current state? No. But if Absolute changed things up and made improvements, would you get it then? Let me know in the comments below and make sure to follow us on all of our socials here to keep up with the latest news we put out. And if you like what you're seeing, hit the like and subscribe buttons. It goes a long way in helping out the channel. Also, if you want to see more stuff, check this out.